Cool beans.
All right, so we are joined by the market manager for CSpire, Shardney Young. We thank you so much for joining us. I got a room full here with me at Velma Jackson High School, and we're recording this for all of our friends in Madison County Schools, Madison Central, Ridgeland High School, Germantown High School, Rosa Scott, the Academic Option Center, and our YouTube channel. This is our business law class. We get kind of broad in here, but I think what you do really translates into everyday business. So we thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much for having me.
Obviously, we got a lot to unpack, but let's give us a little background. St. Joseph High School, Alcorn State, Belhaven. So just give us a little background on your education because you were not always in this, you did not get your degree in this area, but
Not at
it
all.
really,
Not at
it's
all.
really
I
been good to me.
started. Well, I have to correct you on my high school because you tried to do me bad. I went to Northwest Rankin High School, but I also went to Alcorn State. You get on that, and then Belhaven University. Alcorn State, I got a psychology degree, and so I started off completely different from where I am now. We met during serving, so that's what I was doing up until I was like 28, maybe. And then I decided to transfer my customer service skills from that, talking to people every day, getting to know different personalities and working with them. I decided to go from that and to go into sales at CSpire. So that's how I ended up where I am right now.
Yeah, and since then you've had multiple promotions, and we'll get to that. But I think a lot of kids don't realize that this is a type of career that if you want to just get in there and start working, you want to start making good money, and you're kind of on the fence about college, this is a great area to get into. And even if it's not,
Mhm.
these skills are so vital. And I'm not big on offering opinions on here, but in my opinion, sales is the most underrated skill, and business communication is the most underrated skill that young people are learning
That is so
because
true.
they're all on the TikTok, they're all on the YouTube, and that's fine. I like following celebrities and stuff too. But the ability to do business can take you so much farther than any other skill that you can learn in high school. Simple things like writing an email, writing a memo, writing to a customer about what you have, being able to talk about the products that you're selling. So if we have kids, they're like, maybe I don't want to do the whole college thing, but I want to work with a great company. I can learn a business and move up. Why would CSpire or a similar type business really be a good way to get started?
Yeah, so most entry level sales positions start with at least being 18, depending on what you're selling. And then you also have either 1 year of customer service or they want some type of degree. It doesn't have to go the degree route as far as an associate degree because that's just 2 years, right? But you can have just like 6 months or 1 year of customer service with most entry level sales positions because when you think about it, it's on the job training, right? So you go through a specific amount of time where they actually train you on their products, they train you on what to sell, how to sell. So you don't really have to walk your way through that. But definitely so. You don't need a whole lot of experience. You don't need a whole lot of education to get into sales.
Yeah, I agree. And companies like CSpire love moving up from within. You've been
Mm-hmm.
promoted several times. A good friend of mine started out as a retail associate, and now she's with Project Blue with CSpire as well. So they love moving up their own people. However, I think it's important to understand the skills that are needed to be successful at this because it's not just let's punch a clock and just sit around all day.
Not at
There
all.
are so many communication issues, so many conflict resolution, so much product knowledge that has to take place to be successful. And that would literally be in any type of sales career, no matter how you're doing business. And literally, every field has salespeople, whether it be the hospital, whether it be our fast food restaurants, whether it be paper companies. They literally need people that can sell.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the skills that make somebody successful when it comes to selling anything?
I think you hit on right on the head. Communication skills is going to be the basis of sales. I tell people being relatable and being able to communicate the need to the customer or to explain why they would need this product, because a lot of it attach our want to a why, right? So being able to connect the two for the consumer is going to be the basis of how you get the money within sales. So communication is a big part of that. Being able to problem solve, that's another thing. Looking at a situation and saying, well, what can I do in order to fix what's happening in the back end, right? Because when you're looking at a product or you're looking at sales, the customer is really less educated, I would say, than what you are, right? You've been trained for a certain amount of time. The customer doesn't know anything at all. So what they're coming into is wanting a person that has knowledge about an issue that can communicate, which is step one, right? But also be able to explain the need to me, if that makes any sense. So, communication skills, problem solving, conflict resolution, as you hit on, being able to take an assessment or take a situation, change a bad to good, because that's a lot of my job too, being able to take an upset customer and meet their, like, hear first, because a lot of people just want to be heard, right? So hear what they're saying, empathize with what they're saying, and also try to also meet that need, if that makes any sense at all. But yeah, those are going to be some main components that you would want, or that you would desire to have if you're going to be successful within sales.
Yeah, and then also simple things like writing an email. If a customer
Right.
email, you can't send an email like you text your friends.
Not
You
at
know,
all.
you may have a 65-year-old grandmother that's just learning how to do email. You're going to have to write it in a way she's going to be able to understand. So being
Definitely
able to write in a way everyone can know what you're saying. Yeah.
write it
And
down, make
again,
it plain.
I know the young people love seeing all the TikTok stuff and all the LOL, WTF, and I don't even know all of them now. But that's not the way you communicate in business. And
Yeah,
you know, and you mentioned too about being more knowledgeable than the customer. I walked in a CSpire store a couple years ago. I had no idea what was. I thought I had an idea of what I wanted. The salesperson let me know about something I didn't even know was available.
yeah.
So a lot of times, just by giving the information that is there, you can not only make a sale, but you can have a happy customer keep returning.
Exactly. I say that all the time. Being in sales is like making new friends every day, right? Because you meet new people, you meet different personalities, you get to know people, because while you're sitting selling to them, you're asking about how they are, you're asking about their family, you're asking about what they do. So you get to know a lot of different people, and then that puts you in different networking positions, as you said, to grow into different things, right? Because again, this is a basis. A lot of people grow into the way I did. I started off as an ASR, ASR2, team lead, assistant manager, manager now. So, and then a lot of other people do, like your friend, from ASR all the way into HR components. Like, or you can get business analytics. There's IT. There's all type of things that you can break into. And even when you talk about TikTok, right? The algorithm, all of that is ran by knowing who people are, knowing the personality of a person, knowing what they'll attach to, knowing what they like. It's just the basis. I think that, as you said earlier, sales is the basis of how the world goes around, because we wouldn't be able to meet the need or meet the demand, because there's supply and demand when you talk about business, right? So you wouldn't be able to meet the demand of the customer if you didn't understand the psyche of the customer, right? So it's all intertwined. It all intertwines.
Yeah, and then people think I'm crazy, but it's not uncommon for salespeople to make more than managers. For
Not
people
at
that are
all.
hustling, will get in there and will put in the work and learn a business, learn a market, learn how to reach customers because there is so much. And the easy thing about cell phones and a lot of other places, you're not really having to go out in the community a whole lot. A lot of it is inside sales, or customers
Right.
are coming to you. You just got to find a way to reach them. Now, something that these kids may think is silly, but being able to speak multiple languages in this field can literally make you thousands of more dollars
That's true.
because we have kids that say, I'm never going to need this. If you can speak Spanish in cell phone sales, it is amazing how much more customers you have. If you can sign or you can learn any other type of language, it is amazing how much more money you'll be paid more per hour, obviously, but then you have that many more customers that will only want to deal with you.
Because you know who they are, because you reached out to another part of the world, because you're not closed off to what you know and what you understand right now. You're broadening your intellect in order to be able to communicate to different types of people. And that does open you up to the world being your oyster within sales, and how to connect and how to meet the need. Because if I'm trying to communicate to someone who speaks Spanish, but I can barely, like, I took Duolingo, right? Is the app that they use now. But I've taken some classes in Duolingo. I'm trying, but I ain't really there too much. But they start to communicate to me, and I can't understand you, right? And so, because of the misunderstanding, because of the lack of communication, I lose the sale. And not only that, I lose credibility. And not it's not me when I'm speaking on working as a salesman. It's not me that I'm representing, right? It's the company that I'm working for that I'm representing. So my lack of information is also a stream to not being able to grow our market the way that we need to too. Marketing is a big thing too.
Yeah,
Marketing is a
and then we have a lot of first generation Americans in our district. So any children of
big,
immigrants, if you're bilingual, places like CSpire are always looking for bilingual salespeople, and it can be very lucrative. Now, something else I want to talk about because you literally have people sit across tables from you that are applying for jobs.
I
You are
do.
the person they interview with, and you have a big say in whether or not they get to have employment with that company. So obviously, I'm sure you've seen some really great candidates, and I'm sure you've seen some really bad candidates.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I'm sure the bad outweigh the good because I've seen it myself as somebody that used to hire people. So,
Mhm.
what are some common mistakes that you see younger people coming in there making that they don't have any idea that they are making when it comes to interviewing for or applying for a job?
I think the biggest thing is just not being prepared, not knowing anything about the company within itself that you're trying to apply for. You see CSpire everywhere, but if you don't know that our brand is customer inspired, why apply? You also have the lack of presentation. That means the lack of being able to communicate on one side, but also to present yourself, right? So if you come in and dressed any type of way, that doesn't relay well to the person that you're interviewing with. So you always want to dress professionally. You don't want to lack there, right? And then just being knowledgeable about who you are, right? Knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses. Because if I ask you, what's something that you think that you can work on, or what's one of your weaknesses, and you say, I don't have any, I know that that's not true. All of us have weaknesses, right? But the lack of the ability to be able to communicate that weakness is going to be an issue. So just being open, just being able to know yourself, being able to communicate, and not being ill prepared. I think those are the three biggest mistakes that I could say.
Well, and my big pet peeve, and we talked about this a lot in this class last semester, when you go into an interview and the person interviewing you asks, "Do you have any questions?"
And you don't
The
have any,
answer is never, ever no.
never know.
You can have a notepad pulled out where you've already got questions prepared. Little things like that shows your organizational skills. It shows that you've done research. Because how can you walk in a job interview and then really look at a person with a straight face and ask, "What do we do here?"
Right.
And I actually had somebody ask me that in a job interview once, and I even had, and I'm sure you always tell people ask for Chardonnay when you get here. I literally, and if I had not seen this, I wouldn't have believed it. I literally had a woman walk into a building I was working in one time for an interview. She said, "I'm here for the interview," and I said, "Oh, really? Who are you meeting with? What position is it?" She said, and looked at me with a straight face and said, "Let me go out to my car and check."
Oh
So
wow.
obviously, and I mean, I wasn't the one making the decision, but I had the ear of the
Right.
person that was, and I'm like, look, this person didn't even know who they were meeting with. So she may have been very qualified, but that first impression is so important
So
for everyone
strong.
to present themselves professionally. And like we said, places like CSpy are looking for hungry professional people, but you've got to have that aura about yourself that really shows that you're the best fit.
Right, right. CSpire looks for a personality, because we're all, in a sense, I know you hear it a lot when you go to different jobs and careers, but we want to be a basis of a family, right? Because family looks after each other, and the best need for that family and how it fits. And so you just want to be able to present yourself in a way that, as you said, is um a way to know that you will be a addition to the team. You don't want to take away. You want to always be an addition to where you're going, just as you want.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned addition because even if you have no desire to ever work in corporate sales, well, I have a lot
Mhm.
of kids that say they want to be entrepreneurs. You've got to have sales skills to do that. You've got to show why somebody should choose you over the competition. So
Right,
again, sales is literally in every aspect of business because if you want to start a hair company, that's fine. You
right,
can have a great product. You could have a great work ethic. You could have a great um, great customer service skills, but if you can't sell the fact that you're better than somebody else, you're not going to make any money.
Not at all. Not at all. What makes you different? What sets you apart? You know, and you have to be able to communicate. Communication or get the basis. You have to be able to communicate that, right? So it's definitely the beginning of a open door. Every opportunity that you're looking for, if you have sales experience, you can go into those different opportunities. Just keep your mind open to what that looks like, because sales is not just sales. I'm not just selling things, right? I'm showing that I am personable. I'm showing that I can communicate well. I'm showing that I can adapt to change, because in sales environments you're always changing. Everything is, as far as promotions to what the marketing is for this month versus next month, and even what the product itself could look like from month to month. So you always want to be adaptable to change. Like, being in sales is more than just I'm selling somebody something. It shows a variety of different personality traits that can fit well in different career paths. So definitely so.
Yeah. And it's giving a customer something they can use. At the end of the day, you want them to be able to use something. When I was in sales, I used to tell people, look, I'd love to sell you this, but if you can't use it, it doesn't do us any good.
Right
So
on.
finding the best fit for the customer really makes it, and it's amazing if you do a great job in sales, how many people are going to say, hey, call so and so up there. They're going to
Yeah.
treat you good. The commissions just start coming. Now,
Yeah.
something I did want to talk about that's a little bit different is we talked about you went to Alcorn State and then went to Belhaven. And
I
I
did.
love asking a question to people with a combo of
Mhm.
HBCU and PWI because both of those are great institutions that offer different things in different ways. And
Definitely so.
obviously, both of them have huge pros and cons on each one. But as kids are starting to make college decisions, I think it's important to understand the type of culture at different types of institutions, the type of academic requirements. So, obviously, and you're still a true brave through and through. So, just talk about your Alcorn experience and if kids are looking at a HBCU, why they should consider Alcorn.
Definitely so. Alcorn was my um first pivot into family outside of family, right? I was able to grow into the person that I am. I'm at 10 years apart, right? But I was able to start to grow into the person that I am now. It took a lot of different twists and turns. It taught me how to adapt to change. It taught me how to communicate, because I went from Northwest Rankin to Alcorn State. So it was a transition from there too. And so being able to be on my own, and the experience between Alcorn and Belhaven were completely different too, because by the time I got to Belhaven, I was grown, right? I was online school. It wasn't the same as far as community. I didn't have, most of my friends came from HBCUs, but I would say the main reason to go and choose an HBCU as an African American is going to be for support, right? Because you have support there. That the trajectory of your path is going, or the way that you want to go. You have academic um, liaisons to lean on in order to make it to where you want to go, and it's easier access to that, to certain tools and resources that we need in our community specifically, right? And so I don't think that I would get that. And not to say that a PWI is not great, is not accredited, right? But I just believe that the experience in total from life to education is going to be completely different at a HBCU. So if you're looking to see you as an African American in success, I think that that's basic. That's the foundation for that. That's where we started, if that makes any sense. So being able to build um, a community and a network, that I can reach outside of just school is great. We have a completely different foundation than most of the people here. And so to be able to connect to that type of community is going to be the biggest thing, I think.
Yeah, and I think and I say this all the time, and I stand by it. I heard the president of Tougaloo say something on the news one time, and that really hit me hard. She said, historically black does not mean exclusively black.
Not at all.
Because I have kids all the time say, I went to a black high school. I don't want to go to a black college. Well, there's more than black people at Alcorn, and then
Yeah.
all black people are not the same. So you have black people from all over the world. You have Europeans, you have South Americans. So it really is a melting pot in such a great way. to uh, to, to build your cultural knowledge. And HBCUs especially have done a great job of that, of really making it an international melting pot of all types of people, and really, really adds to the culture. So I would encourage anybody to at least, if you're on the fence, give a HBCU a chance, because it's a lot more diverse than you realize. Now, the last thing I want to talk about before I get to their questions is when we get done here in a few minutes, they're going to give some presentations on some topics they've done. And they
Okay.
think I'm so keen for making them present in front of the class, and I'm just trying to make them scared and nervous, when that is far from the case. But
Yeah.
as somebody in the professional field in sales, how important are these skills to be able to speak, even to just a few people?
Yeah, it's so important when you even talk about sales, but in anything, right? Not just in sales, but also in just life, right? We have to be able to communicate and to present the things that we know. The ability to present our knowledge to others in a way that it's accessible and easy to understand is the basis of, like I said earlier, of how the world goes around, right? So he's not hard on you for making you present in front of your classmates. No, but it's basically a cornerstone to what you'll be doing, especially depending on the career that you choose, what you'll be doing week in and week out. All right. So just being able to communicate that knowledge, write that stuff down, it's a definite asset, right, to where you want to be.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and because I have people all the time say, I've had kids say, "Well, I'm." First of all, I think it's laughable that they put the word "just" in this sentence, but oh, I'm just going to drive trucks. Well, you think you don't have to have some customer service skills when you get to where you're going?
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm going to do hair. Well, you don't think you're going to have to talk to your customers about how you're going to do their hair? So, and I know I'm beating a dead horse, but you can never get enough communication skills when it comes to doing business of any sort. Well, I do have some questions for students, and I'll get to as many of these as I can.
Okay.
And I like this one. I like this first one. This is Levon Johnson. He's in 10th grade, extremely talented photographer, and he is very interested in learning multiple languages. And he
Mm.
asked, what is the main language I would need to learn to be successful in sales?
Mm. That's a hard one. America is, like you said earlier, a melting pot. So, but I would say in my area where I am in Brandon, Mississippi, I think the biggest language is English, of course, but the second is going to be Spanish. And I'm not sure if many other areas are going to be the same, but I would assume so. But I think that Spanish could take you really far, really, really far, actually, because you'll have one person come in to communicate for the entire family, right? But if you can communicate to the entire family and they don't have to be the back and forth, that's more money for you. They'll go tell their family, hey, I spoke to so and so. Just because he spoke Spanish, you got the whole family. You got people coming from you from everywhere. So I would say Spanish. I would say Spanish. I think that's a good answer.
Yeah, and then and I didn't realize, and it blew my mind when I was working in cell phone sales. I have never noticed how many hearing impaired people there are in the Jackson area. If you
Oh,
can
yeah.
sign, my sister learned ASL in college. She can literally go in and translate sign language. If you can sign,
That's
if
a
we
big
had
one
somebody
too.
with a hearing impaired parent that has learned sign language, there's always a big need for that. But back to about the Spanish. When I was working at the cell phone store, we had a young lady from El Salvador that worked there. She not only made more per hour because she was bilingual, people would literally wait for an hour just to speak to her because the Spanish speaking community had said they have a person there that speaks Spanish.
Mhm.
So she made so much money, it just didn't seem fair. So she had all the Spanish speakers and plus her share of English speaking customers. So
Yeah, she got
these
it
kids
out.
want to laugh about, I'm not going to need Spanish. You'd be shocked on how
Yeah.
useful it can be.
Yeah. And then what if you want to travel? You know what I mean? That's just not outside of work. Like what if you want to go on a cruise or go to a different country? Like it's good to know a different language. It's good to be able to communicate in more than just your sphere. It is.
Yeah, and when I went, I agree because I went to Mexico. I was getting to speak Spanish to Spanish people. I've never been so
Yeah.
happy to talk Spanish in my life. This is LaCridrick Harris. He's in ninth grade, and he asked, what is advice someone that you would give that really wanted to find a job in sales?"
I would just say to, as we've been speaking on the entire time, work on your communication skills, be able to present yourself well, and just have confidence because half the sales is confidence anyway. So just be able to do those things and be able to explain that to the person that is hiring or doing the potential hiring. Just be yourself. I think that sales comes with personality, and so you'll fit in exactly where you're supposed to. I'll say it that way. So just be
I got
yourself.
time for two. I got time for two more. This is Kamani Wright. He's in ninth grade, one of our champion power lifters here, and
Oh.
he asked, "What drives you to keep up your good work?"
I'm a believer in Christ. And so that's what drives me every day to be an example of him and to lead an example. You know, that's what it is.
Love it. I got time for one more. This is Zayden Reed. She's in ninth grade, and she asked, "What is the hardest problem you've faced in your career?"
Ooh. I would say the transition into management from sales to management was the hardest transition in my career because I had never managed before, right? So it was learning, it's a learning curve. Definitely. It's not just sales. It's a different part of learning people, learning personalities, learning how to work with that. So I want to say that that was the biggest challenge thus far because I'm still going. But yeah, biggest challenge.
But at the same time, for people that want to get in and start working and get that dog about them in business, this is a great business to get in and learn
It
for a few
is.
years, and the management opportunities will come.
They're
So,
coming.
really, really want everybody to understand that and at least consider that when they start making decisions after high school. Now, we're almost out of time, and we thank you so much for finally being able to join us. But a couple things before we go. First of all, obviously, we want to plug CSpire. If anybody's looking to get started, where can they go to look at getting, especially some of these ones about to turn 18 and can get
Yeah.
something in their name, get some credit built. So, where do they need to go to look at what CSpire has available?
CSpire.com/careers. That's where all of our careers are laid when they are, presented. So I think CSpire.com/careers is the best place to start.
Yeah, and then even if they don't want to work there, where are some places they can find the products to buy and get plans started?
CSpire.com is by itself. But you can also come into any local store and we'll be more than happy to help you. I'm in the Brandon, Mississippi area. So if you're ever in the area and need anything for your cell phone or anything like that, definitely come see us.
Yeah, and then also on CSpire, if you don't know where a store is, they have the locations. I know there's several here in the Madison County area. So, uh, really encouraged. And again, and like we said, when people turn in 18, not only careers, but you can go in there, apply for a cell phone plan to start building credit for yourself, to start building credit. Now, last thing before we go, and we thank you so much for taking some time for us. But if
Definitely
kids
so.
are really interested in learning a business, why are these sales careers so good, but also so important to learn as they start to transition through high school?
I believe that it's important to learn because, it's going to be the basis of how you run your business, right? If you want to be able to market yourself and your product to a point where someone else wants to buy it, the basis of sales is where you start. You can't make money without a sale, right? So to be able to communicate, to be able to have a relatable personality, to be able to market yourself in a way that others around you are marketing themselves. Just to be able to have those components will make you a great businessman, which is really salesman. You're meeting a demand. So you definitely have to sell a product, whether it's tangible. They do online products now, so you don't even have to. You can do a PDF. You can sell anything, especially with AI. AI is crazy. You can sell anything with those things. So yeah, just stay focused and you got it.
Love it. So again, thank you for fitting us in your tight schedule. Really appreciate it. My friend Shardney Young, market manager, CSpire, customer inspired. Talk to you soon, buddy.
All right.
And let me correct one thing. I don't know why I thought you went to St. Joe. Definitely Northwest Rankin High School Cougars. So I do apologize, but yeah, I had to
Oh,
plug
you're
your current
fine.
school there.
You're perfectly fine. No problem at all.
All right,
Thank you for
talk
having
to you.
me.
All right, see ya.